Fnatic looking to be on the up. They have a lot of extra games under their belt as well. Obviously, those 13 games played at IEM will give them a lot more experience as a team, a lot more experience, especially with Clyde. They now have way more experience with Clyde than they ever did with Noxiac. So,
a lot of games. 11, I think, do that for you?
Some fighting words at the beginning of the day, though. We saw Kasing say, well, they should have just stuck with Noxiac. He was better for the team. So interesting. There's been a lot
also
of...
called Cly Psycho.
He did. A lot of things said at the beginning, but a lot of bans coming out pretty fast here. Graves, Zillion, LeBlanc banned out for Fnatic. Very non-standard bans. On the side from Vitality, exactly what you would expect from a red side team. Lulu banned away, Nidalee banned away. What is going to be the next one? We'll see a Lucian, Kalista maybe banned away, but we know Fnatic can play Kalista, they can play Jhin. So there's multiple things here.
Well, Ramus is the one that ends up being banned at the last one, and Fnatic has to have a little bit of fun there, but the Corki was left open, and I think this is a viable option. Of course, the Kalista also has been for Reckless, but they want to opt for that instead. So, Vitality, everybody's having a little bit of fun with the dog right now. I don't think they'll pick that one up again.
Not at this point. It's not first pickable, not first rotation. Don't do it. It's not good. Ramus is banned away.
What is up, though, right?
They don't have to deal with it.
Available?
Yeah, Alistair, Gragas are available. But it is the Thresh. Wow, okay, so we know Kasing is a Thresh player. We know Kasing certainly feels a lot more aggressive on that Thresh, so I quite like it in general. I just wondering whether the Alistair may have been a better pick for the tempo here. I guess you don't really want to have the Alistair in that lane. Interesting one, that Thresh.
Yeah, well, you know, you can think about it as maybe a takeaway, so Cly won't have a chance to send the hooks flying.
In fact, Kasing hasn't played Alistair this split at all. He's got 6 games on Thresh, 3 on Tahm Kench, 3 on Morgana. Alistair is the most banned champion by Vitality as well. They have shown no propensity to play the Alistair.
Curious. We'll have to keep a look on that as it develops too. It's kind of something that slipped through our radar there. But back to this one right now for Fnatic. The Poppy might be the pickup here. It does get locked in, and the Braum, so they've got a massive front line for themselves already built up to protect the Corki. Now the question is, does it go to Febiven or Reckless? I think Febiven definitely showed a pretty strong statement for that one yesterday.
Well, this is a very strong top side of the map when you look at the Corki, potentially mid lane, plus the Poppy in the top. Well, we know Nukeduck does play the Quinn. That is available should he want to play it into a mid Corki. Wouldn't be surprised to see Vitality leave a mid lane as the counter pick here. Quinn into Corki does pretty well in the lane matchup. Can really punish the Corki, dodge out of the way of the Phosphorus Bomb, also get a lot of damage traded back. Is still the option to give Reckless the Corki, but I would imagine if this Kalista gets locked in, they're going to answer with the Jhin.
Yeah, well, that's quite a possibility, as Reckless has been picking that up at every opportunity available to him. Vitality doing this. Oh,
they know.
There we go.
They obviously Vitality know. I mean, they're
daring him.
They're daring him. It's like, come on, play the Jhin. But Nautilus locked in for Cabo in the top lane. Very different pick to the Nasus, even though they're both tanks. Nautilus has a lot of lane dominance, especially into melee matchups. The Poppy matchup against Nautilus, Nautilus can just push the wave back away, make sure Poppy can't push up to tower too much. Poppy kind of does get a little uncontrollable the later the game goes when it comes to team fights, going through, dashing in, knocking the Nautilus away. So we have to watch out for this top lane matchup.
Yeah, this is where Vitality has been trending, putting Cabochard on the Nautilus in the last couple games. And there we go.
He's locked in. His name is Jhin Cena, and he is going to be Reckless AD carry pick for the bottom lane here.
Ooh, I can't see him. All right, and then we got the Lee Sin too for Spirit. So this is comfort all around.
Oh, I'm being yelled at. I may have to credit
I think that
Pulse
was worth.
No,
actually.
I have to credit Pulse.
I think
for
that was worth. I will give you a small golf
no. I feel dirty. I didn't steal it from Pulse, but I told Pulse I'm using it if it comes up before he is. So
all right. Well,
I mean, we knew it was coming, right?
Yeah, but like, the stakes are high right now, right? Like Reckless hasn't lost on this in competitive. He's got 6 games, 5 at IEM, 1 yesterday, and Vitality gave this knowingly.
Yeah, they even give the Lee Sin over as well. Keep in mind, IEM, another pick, was this Lee Sin for Spirit. He was able to be active on the map in the early game, get the aggression down, and put themselves in a good position.
Quinn makes his reappearance for Nukeduck.
Quinn was available.
He had a hell of a game on that.
He did.
Some weeks back, if I recall. That was, of course, back when GP was pretty much perma-banned and not been the case since his nerfs.
So I assume they want more than just a lane pick here. They don't just want to have the Quinn to win a lane. They want to have some sense of scaling in this game, to be able to wave clear, to have presence in other areas of the map, using the teleport, using the ultimate from the Gangplank. Vitality are going to rely a lot on Nukeduck and Hyanan in this game. And honestly, I'm excited to see how Kalista Thresh from Hyanan and Kasing can do against this Jhin. They've had a week to prepare. They had to expect it to come in here if they picked up the Kalista.
Fnatic have been given their best here. Vitality are saying, we can beat you at your highest level. That is a bold statement.
It is. And considering Vitality desperately need a win here, they can't really afford to go 0-2. It's not one they can do.
Yeah, now with the picks and bans behind us, it's time to load up and see how this playoff preview unfolds between Fnatic and Vitality.
While the rest of Fnatic's base is in tatters, the Nexus turrets are down. Cabochon walks away, and Vitality bounce back to beat Fnatic.
Fnatic just being content with that win. I mean, they exposed some weaknesses, they forced the fights, they were faster to those objectives.
But you're often so far behind, if you make one mistake, the game is over.
With what we've been saying about Fnatic up until IEM Katowice, you wouldn't expect this to be a hype, close matchup, but they found a way right into the playoffs, and now they are looking to take down Vitality.
Well, you just heard it. One mistake, and the game could be over. The crowd
is on fire.
Certainly hyped for this game as we are. Let's see if the mistake was picking up or giving away the Jhin. Is that the mistake and the game's over as we get into the game out of pick and bans? You have to think Vitality are going to dodge the Kalista matchup into Jhin. You have to expect a lane swap attempt.
They've definitely got something up their sleeve to try and deal with this. Otherwise, they would not have given that away. They do not believe in banning it out, and like every team that beat them at IEM. So, going a little bit deep to start things off. Ply gets the ward in. Get a couple. Not as deep down the line, and it looks like we're in for a lane swap as Vitality had already moved their dual lane up towards the top side. Other than that, everything pretty normal. Vitality not making any unnecessary moves around them.
Well, Vitality are now going to show on the wards. So Fnatic know they're in a lane swap. It's too late to do anything here. And Keystone Masteries that you can see. Deathfire Touch on Jhin, we've grown accustomed to. There was one slight change on Jin's kit that hasn't really been talked about. That his ult now counts as single target damage. So no longer does the reduced damage from Deathfire Touch apply. You get the full damage every time you hit. It will tick down rather than that 33%. So another reason of why it synergizes so well. It is a minor one, but there were a whole lot of minor buffs for Jhin on this patch, 6.4.
Yeah.
Slightly increased movement speed, slightly increased health regeneration, but speaking of health, Forbidden chucked down
that is
pretty
a lot.
Heavily already.
That is quite a lot to start things off. Nukeduck, definitely no stranger on this Gangplank pick, making life hard. Cly is trying to make life hard for Cabo and Nukeduck. To some success, they keep batting him away. There we go, combo up between the Anchor and the Fat Man. Cly is just trying to make life hard and give Reckless some solo farm. He has no smite, can't take these down.
Well, there was the smite coming from Shook. Febiven and Nukeduck trading very heavily early on.
Yeah.
It is the Thunderlord's Corki, not the Grasp of the Undying Corki that we saw in a couple of games.
Febiven yesterday must have grown accustomed to styling on an entire team as he was able to do against Giants, but Nukeduck is a player of a different caliber.
Yes, I don't think Nukeduck is going to die to Febiven picking up the package and then coming mid lane with it.
I think it's
at least not that
bet.
straight up. If it does happen, there are issues.
That's what happened.
There are going to be issues if that happens. I'm going to be severely disappointed. But Vitality right now, with a push on the top side, I believe it's a little bit slower than Fnatic on the bottom side. It has been evened out as Fnatic had to back away from the wave for a moment.
We've seen a couple of pathways that lead towards the same end here. With all of the lane swapping in the previous games, this one's a little bit more standard than the rest, so it goes down eventually. The big hammer of Gamsu is trying to bounce the wave, holds it, there we go, gets that full gold, and the same thing happens on the top side with Cabo Shard, so dead even on the board. Just about 100 gold, about 150 separating the two teams.
So we spoke earlier about how awful Ghost Bride Morgana's recall animation is and the sound. At High Noon Jin, I love it. Give me the saloon music. It's perfect. Nice little tune to recall with.
I like the animation too. I
Get
watch it all the time.
sarsaparilla, maybe?
I watch it all the time, and that's better than window shopping because then you can't just get surprised.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a real reason it's in there, is to make you pay attention to it, so you don't lose yourself in the shop.
Don't lose yourself to the music as well, Pyra. Be careful with that recall animation. But for Bivin in this middle lane, he has no sign of losing anytime soon. He is ahead. It is to be expected against a Nuke Duck gangplank right now. GP needs extra time here. Obviously a scaling mid laner.
His early game got a bit more reliable though with the changes. Now his barrels spawn at the same, respawn at the same rate. He gets the 3 max.
The 3 max is a heavy nerf to his late game, though. That's the
Yes.
problem. Is you used to be able to drop 2 barrels, chain the 3rd, and still have 2, so that the next time you got the cooldown from 1 being able to be regenerated, you just drop 3 again, and it would mean you'd have 2 rotations. So now you have to be a little bit more conservative with your barrels in the mid and late game.
Vitality and Fnatic aren't very conservative about their towers. The reverse happens of what we just saw a few moments ago, the towers being traded. Both these teams definitely trying to accelerate their growth a little bit here.
But it's at the same pace right now.
Yeah.
This is what we've come to expect from 2 teams that realistically are not messing up phase 1 and 2 of a lane swap. In this game, it's exactly what we're seeing. Fnatic put the pressure on the Rift Herald. It's what they're entitled to do, being on the top side of the map right now.
Well, Vitality aren't concerned with this. I mean, their MO this entire split has been slow and steady, wins the game. And, you know, 11 times out of 15, it's been the case. This is why they're one of the top level teams. There's your favorite recall.
He's already gone, though. He had the empowered recall.
Ooh, Febin was able to
Play a double time.
take out that barrel timing. I mean, that really makes all the difference in a GP matchup. It's so frustrating as a GP player when you're just smidgen away from blowing that barrel up and
Yeah.
a huge chunk of damage, and then, nope, denied.
It's annoying, but you got to come to expect that, especially into range matchups. It's like, well, melee matchups can't punish you for it. If you're against an AD carry like Corky, it's like, okay, well, don't be stupid with your barrels, because I'm just going to auto it. It's kind of an awkward timing in the early game, with the actual countdown timer being fairly long between each pick. So it's easy late game, because you see it drop and you just auto it, and it's in the right time. Early game, you've got to wait, now attack. So
Exactly.
patience.
Now there's the Fnatic
Ooh.
Nation coming in big once again. 71% say they're going to beat Vitality, who have garnered not a small following in their success here in Europe so far. Fnatic, though, I mean, big stakes for them. If they win today, they put themselves over the Unicorns after they've just lost, despite the tiebreaker being in the Unicorns' favor. That jumpstarts Fnatic into 4th place, not to mention they'll only be 1 game behind Vitality.
So here's the ripple effect of the Rift Herald. Oh, nice decision on the ultimate there from Nuke Duck. This is going to slow down everything Fnatic wants to do. Actually, completely negates the advantage that initially the Rift Herald was giving them. They'll still have it for the auto-attack speed on the tower from the minions here. So it is still a benefit, but what it allowed Vitality to do was at least get a little bit smaller of a window after this play for them to recall and either defend or continue pushing depending on what Fnatic end up doing.
Still giving all that gold over to Gamsu as well. Trying to get the Poppy nice and big. Towers will get traded once again. Gamsu's actually staying on the top side, and because Vitality are starting to back away, Fnatic have moved towards this dragon. And
That was a really smart play by Nuke. Just to drop that ult seems very basic, but again, had they gone for something like a Quinn in the Pixie Bands phase, they wouldn't have had that option available.
Oh, boy.
Nuke still showing he has damage this early on with just a Sheen under his belt, but I mean, this is such a strategical opening to this game for both teams. Very little in the way of errors coming out. Both teams showing they understand what they've got to do this early on. So this has been patient, but it's actually a game that you can look at and study for lane swaps, I feel. Like, this is a very similar game where you want to watch 2 teams that in general have this pretty much spot on. It's a good one to watch.
And this is just such a powerful statement for Fnatic, because they have not been this team until recently that has come together and played. Yes, they make good decisions in early games, and they've been able to have some solid understanding of like a lot of the basics, but they have made a lot of mistakes. We've seen communication errors. Now, since they've been back from Poland, this has been a revitalized team.
Really nice trick by Nukeduck. Explosion into third barrel going down. Still hit Febiven. The knock-on effect, though, of this mid lane matchup being Febiven favored is the damage to the turret. Keep in mind, yesterday we saw him take down Pepinero's turret at this 9-minute mark. This game, he's already got the turret down to a third of its health remaining. The average time that turrets fall down in the mid lane, I believe, is around 18 minutes in a lane swap, maybe just a little bit short of that. In standard lanes, it's actually 90 minutes as well. So you expect mid lane tower to stand up for a long time longer than Febiven's had them down this week.
Standard is the word of it, though. As we see something we've seen before.
Same thing again.
Oh, but the Gangplank ultimate comes out, but
They've got the tower
gone.
But what it does is cut Fnatic's options now. That would have been a very big wave, stacking up potentially into the inhibitor tower, and it's not an option for Fnatic. Fnatic, however, are going to look for the mid tower because of how low it is already. Vitality cannot commit to the inhibitor tower because of it. And Vitality, they kind of have to concede this as this wave pushes up. This is a really good preparation. The last 4 or 5 minutes from Febiven have allowed Fnatic to get to this point. They don't quite get it now. Next push, that tower goes down.
Yeah, threat of Vitality members moving around the side, but it was oh so close. So 10 minutes into the game, we've already seen 8 towers fall because of these back and forth trades, the standardized trades, and both teams understanding how to play it out. The wave was pushed into the bottom side by Vitality before they moved up, so a little bit of damage on that inhibitor tower, but fortunately for Fnatic, that'll all reject.
The thing for Vitality right now is they have to somehow play with the wave pushed out in mid lane. Otherwise, they lose a lot of ground around the mid tower. They lose the ability to control their jungle, and it's almost inevitable that it's going to go down because Rekkles, with this long range, is going to just step up and auto that tower. If he hits that, I believe twice. Yeah, twice will definitely get it. Easy. But now even the minions pushing up is enough. There's one auto. There's the second from Febiven.
Yeah, gets the gold
gone
for him.
So it wasn't possible to push the wave far enough up to actually defer that or deter that push at all. Keep in mind the long-range snare from Rekkles, the longer this game goes. If Vitality are at a position really to, even in like a minor mistake from them, you can heavily punish it from Jhin if you have got that mark on you that allows the W to snare.
Well, speaking of Jhin and Fnatic's comp on the whole, given how close this has been back and forth, Fnatic have now established a lead. How do they push that further? How do they get themselves in a situation where it'll be really hard for Vitality?
Well, the thing is, Vitality swapping in the beginning of the game didn't allow Rekkles to have a massive lead from this lane matchup. Oh, they caught for Viven.
Yep, and they get the hook onto him. Flayed back, and he is gone. First blood over to Yarnan. Some powered minions.
Just a really nice play. Really nice play from Hyanan and Kasing. They knew exactly what they had to do, get in range for that. No cleanse on Febiven. So it meant when the hook landed, Febiven didn't really have any options. He could have exhausted, but it wouldn't have kept him alive. There were 3 people there.
Oh, dodge of the flourish, but now it's going to be the curtain call onto Kasing. Flay backward, a second shot hits him. Not far enough. Now it hits Yarnan on the back of it all. He's got that fourth. No, it's done. And now Nukeduck has come and joined the party to push it all back. No kills for that.
No kills. A lot of action, no kills is the key thing because these two teams have a lot of ways of getting out. Well, the initial kill onto Febiven here, even if it had cleanse, maybe Valkyrie into Flash could have got him away before Shook appeared, but I don't know. I think he just wants the exhaust right now because it's going to shut down Nukeduck fairly hard later into the game, and Febiven will have the option to just Valkyrie out anyway. So just a bit of a mistake from Febiven to be pushing out that far. But you were talking about with this Jhin, what do Fnatic need to do right now? Or at least how can they press their advantage? So they didn't get that massive laning advantage because they weren't 2v2 against Hyanan and Kasing, which means that Rekkles now has to recognize, and he does obviously, that this is the point where Jhin, outside of his ultimate and the damage that comes from that, is in a bit of a weak spot when it comes to being able to be caught out very effectively, not really being able to output too much damage in fights without having to move back and constantly readjust without popping your ult. Fnatic will be aware of that. They played around it very well at IEM, and that's one of the reasons why Febiven on Corki has been such a good pick, because it does cover for that. The same with Gamsu on a top laner that deals damage as well as disrupts teamfights, is covering this time period where Rekkles maybe isn't so confident in the Jhin. They're just buying time to get him later into the game if it ever gets there.
Yeah, well, Gamsu was trying just to get away, but there's a big wave building, and Cabochard trying to accelerate the pace of this one. Nukeduck doing the same on the bottom side. Side waves are pushing. Fnatic, however, have 4 members around this river to clear some wards out, try to get some dragon control up. But they've got to be careful. If their side waves keep getting pushed in, the Nautilus will back away.
So maybe I'm reaching a little far on this. But for Vitality, we always know they have these kind of game plans in mind. The Nasus, the Bardzillion. I wonder whether this GP pick was somewhat anticipated anyway. And the reason for that is if Fnatic want to try and start a fight, if Nukeduck, after he has the Death's Daughter upgrade, puts down the Cannon Barrage on top of Reckless, he can't afford to stay in his ultimate form. You have to stand still. Now, yes, that takes away a lot of damage. Ooh,
Fresh got it. Kasing, actually. Okay, here we go, and now the fight's on. There's the Cannon Barrage. Klai is taken out. Spear stuck into him by Yarnan, and now Gamsu's gonna get the next. Vitality are starting to fall in this one. Reckless protected in the back. It may not be as powerful right now, but he's proving more than sufficient. Curtain call not needed. And that is a 3-for-1 over to Fnatic. Though they lose the dragon.
Oh, it might not be over yet. Cabo's teleporting out.
It's not gonna be able to, not gonna go down.
Reckless needed the proc for his W to actually connect any kind of snare, but wouldn't have been enough anyway to have stopped Cabochard teleporting out. Oh, it was supposed to be another one. Yeah, not enough.
So 3-1, but this fight, I mean, we kind of had a slow build up to it, but all of a sudden, Kasing's like, I will take that.
Yeah, how did Kasing get this? 2 smites and a support gets it. Interesting stuff.
Well,
so
only Lee Sin used the smite.
The Cannon Barrage did go on to Reckless and Feberman. It wasn't after the Curtain Call was used, but still the fact that he's using it there does force Reckless not into his ultimate form. Did not matter here, though, because Feberman was already well into the backline, taking out Yarnan, and it was pretty much all said and done. Curtain Call was used, but no shots fired. So get that extra cooldown, man. You gotta cancel it. Get all the reduced cooldown.
Yeah, it's already almost back up.
Yeah.
Reckless is not too worried about this one. So where things stand right now is Fnatic have this slight lead. It's kind of been fluctuating a little bit outside of 1,000 gold maybe, but they're still holding this line. Vitality have this long game plan. You talked about the potential of GP to disrupt and stop the Jhin, but they're gonna need that because Fnatic have been so fantastic on protecting this Jhin in all of their compositions they've ran it in so far and bridging that power spike gap. Talked about the Corki, talked about the Poppy. It's come in handy.
And that's the thing, the comp they're going with in this game for defending the Jhin, I'm going to use in air quotes, is the best defense is a good offense in this kind of situation. You've got a Corki, you've got a Poppy, you've got a Lee Sin. Braum, sure, he'll defend. That's fine.
Yeah.
So I'll give everybody that one.
Well, I'd say you stop the poke, but there's not a whole lot of poke on the side of Vitality.
No, but there is, of course, Braum's ability to throw out the Glacial Fissure and to say anybody coming towards us, no, not going to take that. It's,
they will take the Rift Herald, however.
Yes, they will. 3rd one of the game.
Yeah, it's been quite a lot. Although
Rift
one went on
Heralds.
to Vitality.
Yes, well, that's what I was going to say. 3rd of the game, more Rift Heralds, I think, than we normally would see. 17 minutes and 3 already on. So
It's been prioritized. They want to push these waves fast. When you have the towers taken out early, I mean, it becomes the mini game of how many can you collect, how fast can you push the waves.
Well,
Vitality are looking to do Death Brush.
Wyatt.
Get impatient.
Gamsu has his flash.
Okay, depth charge and everything misses, but the hook. Kasing pulls him in anyways. Klai gets them all knocked back, and he sends out the Glacial Fissure.
Oh, they're getting collapsed on. Nukeduck has his teleport available, but he is late to this party. He's recalling first.
Spirit and Reckless. Spirit will connect. There's the Flourish.
Doesn't get the snare. There was no targeting indicator that will allow that.
Ooh, they've escaped the trap.
Of course, that will be applied by enemy damage or some of Jin's abilities will apply that. So
close calls all around, though.
He was looking for the follow-up on the initial Q, though. That was what he was trying to go for, but did not land the target.
Oh, there's your music.
I love it. I love that. Sorry,
I don't know what I'm getting you. I mean, it's a little early for Christmas, but maybe I can get you that skin.
Maybe. That would be appreciated.
Oh. I'll see what I can do.
That's my second favorite thing about Jhin, by the way. My actual favorite thing is I got the opportunity to speak with Gypsy Lord, the champion designer for Jhin. And he was like, here, let me show you this build where I have 4 Infinity Edges and Essence Reaver, and I crit people for like 2.2k damage.
Oh, you're one of those people.
It is not an effective build. Don't do it. You don't have the money. But if you ever manage to get there, you basically one-shot squishies. Like, just instantly deal with them.
I
So
think
that's
you
my
one-shot
favorite thing about
everything
Jhin.
at that point.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about Jhin, but we're never going to see it, unfortunately.
Well, hey, you say that, but we're 19 minutes into a game that could go quite long. Anything can happen,
Well,
Stress.
the thing is, in competitive, you do need some sense
There's
of like
already
wave
one
clear.
Infinity Edge,
Yeah, but
though.
there's also a Zeal. You need a bit of a, wave clear, the transition from attack speed, that kind of thing.
Just have to believe.
We're gonna get to see some Jhin in action. Jhin cam. Oh, look at him shoot these targets.
Pretty sweet buff.
Got him.
Doesn't miss. Not a whisper. All right, so Vitality. I asked you about Fnatic and what they need to do to push ahead. On the flip side, Vitality. They've got a lot of late game power between the Kalista and the Gangplank. How do they use that, and how do they take out Reckless early enough to where this Fnatic team doesn't have any threat left?
Ooh, when this Fnatic team doesn't have any threat left. I love the optimistic approach here. I think Feberman is enough of a threat there as well. I'm with you.
Okay, so how do they, let me amend this, how do they take out Reckless or Feberman?
Okay, that's fair, When the only threat left is Cly. That's a tough one because Vitality need extra time here. They need to get this GP at a point where the barrels are dealing significant damage. Obviously, he's got the Triforce, he's got BF Sword alongside it, so Nukeduck's on his way. Another thing to keep in mind is the actual speed at which a GP gets into like 2-3 item points is a little lower now. In fact, considerably lower. One of the other changes onto Gangplank is his actual gold generation timings now off the added gold you get from Parley. The value you get is reduced by a significant amount. I believe it's only like 2 or 3 gold now as opposed to
Getting
a lot
taxed now,
longer.
man. I was so bummed about that when that nerf came through. All my freelo went down the drain.
So it just means that his later items don't really arrive as quick. You used to be able to like one-shot a wave with barrels late game and just get additional gold out of the wazoo.
Which doesn't matter once you have 6 items and then an elixir, right?
But when you're on 2 items, that's key.
Oh yeah, that's big.
Dragon goes down.
For Fnatic, that's going to be decent for them, and they looked like they wanted to start the fight. Vitality weren't so keen on it, but they are looking at pushing the tower here. Teleport coming in from the Poppy. Gamsu looking to make the big play. Fnatic running it up. It looks like it's revealed. The box is down. And yet again, Vitality has slipped out of the trap.
Nobody puts Poppy in the box. And
or Vitality.
Didn't go in the box at this point. Vitality is just backing away. Are going to look for this turret for Fnatic, though. No minion wave.
Though.
They could look to go bot. Problem is, that pathway, Vitality have the faster move on. They actually have control over that path around their base, so it's probably more beneficial for Fnatic to stay here and look to get damage. No teleport play really available as nobody's in base right now. Cabo is right here in the middle lane, so it's not like they could utilize a flank with home guard.
And Vitality weren't ever really in any danger. They just sent Nukeduck down there and say, hey, there's a big bunch of minions. Can you deal with that? Yeah, no problem. And all the gold in his pocket. So Baron's on the Rift as we're hit 22 minutes. It's been there for a couple, but no eyeballs on that one. Fnatic, of course, was synonymous with quick Barons last year, but this is a totally different squad. Hasn't been their forte.
Well, no weak eyeballs, unlike Rift Herald. We've evolved him into a stronger, more powerful buff. Post 20 minutes, Baron. Do not trifle with it at this point. Nukeduck, he wants to take on Gamsu in this top lane, though. Again, he's just absorbing farm. Every time he goes up to another lane, or to bottom lane, to top lane, anywhere he goes, he's just like, I'm just taking this gold. And you can see the farm difference. Although
it's only 600
doesn't actually translate into gold difference. Interesting. There's an extra tower on Fnatic. There is a fair amount of farm for Feberman, but he is down like 60 CS.
I mean, yeah, it's against the GP, though, who's just free clearing waves like crazy.
He's got the kill. He's got the 2 assists. However, I think if this was old GP, you'd probably see a big difference now with that added gold.
That's true. It does stack up over time.
Yeah.
Talked about investing. This is interest compounding. We're learning basic economics here at the European LCS.
Well, with Jhin Cena in this game, I'm glad we're not learning basic thugonomics at this point, but Vitality are pushing onto the middle lane tower. Braum shield goes up, 3 people though.
He's unbreakable, but they flayed him back in, and he's got to flash. out of this one. Tower's gonna go down. It only took one more attack, and Gamsu puts Shook up against the wall. They're gonna try to make the play to finish him off. The barrel explodes to push him all back, but Gamsu's not done just yet. Maybe he is. Face call, bringing in Kasing, and he pulls back Gamsu to Yarn and Titten the kill there. And now they've got a wave of their own to push further. No more Poppy to defend this one. Spirit around the backside will connect the Sonic Wave, but they don't care. Cly going low, not going down. Shook getting knocked back, kicked by Spirit, staying alive. Tower number 2 will fall.
Oh, it's the curtain call.
Big power play for Vitality, and Cabochard just taking the curtain call. Whew. All the shots, staying alive.
Yeah, at that point, that was Vitality lining up. That's probably the one skill shot that you do want to completely line up for, because you just block it. And Shook was like, oh, well, I'm safe. There's like 3 people in front of me. This was Vitality pushing up. Cly knows that he can defend at least if they are only pushing, but has to use so much here to disengage. Flashes away on super low health, and Vitality know that they can continue this push. Nukeduck is just about to hit the fight at the backline, and from here, it's not too much of a problem for Vitality to keep going here, as Hjanen takes down Gamsu. And realistically, top was pushing in for Vitality. They knew they had some space now to have a couple of options. Mid lane, bottom lane was kind of neutralized halfway down, so he obviously had vision that Fnatic were all here and all low, so it's only really reckless. But he's playing a defensive game right now. He is too weak right now to get himself right into the mix and start moving forward in fights.
That's the problem. You talked about Fnatic needing to buy time. They're still trying, but Vitality are trying to force the issue as Spirit gets caught on a Kasing hook. Gamsu looking to try and get the hammer out, but teleport comes in, and Vitality have stacked 5 members yet again. Hooking in Clyde. He's out. Hjarnan picks up another for himself. Gamsu gets interrupted and bopped by Shook. All of a sudden, he's caught in the rest, but Spirit sends out the kick flying to try and chase him away. They might be sacrificed. Deterred by the Gangplank ulti from going anywhere, and it is Gamsu and Cly down for none.
The instant turn, though, for Vitality heading towards Baron. They leave Kasing here behind, just in case there's a straggler, which there is. He's now going to spot Spirit. Vitality are fairly slow, actually, considering the way they started moving towards that. That was a long way to run up to Baron. But again, another important set of picks here. First onto Cly, now they look for the Baron. They've got the Kalista, so should be able to lock this one down. Spirit realistically shouldn't be able to get this at all. There should be too little chance. Oh, he's hooked as well.
They have. Are they going to turn the fight, though? Yarnan's still trying to take out the Baron, and the tension is split right now. Teleport coming in. There is the Braum ulti to try and push them all back, and GP secures the Baron finally, but Nukeduck and Shook are way too low inside the pit. Gonna have to flash or belly dash away from this one, if they even can. Shook wanders around before being taken out. Cabochart's fate is the same, and Femivin will pick him up on that. A double kill. 3 members of Vitality gone, as their focus was not on the Baron.
And Hjanen, expecting Fnatic to take the big wave top lane, moves up, doesn't recall instantly, and just tries to push the wave back. Fnatic say, we weren't actually thinking about top, we want mid lane instead. Give us that mid inner tower. Hjanen can't wave clear this. Kalista is too short range on her own, or even with Thresh here, to even think about looking at wave clearing against so many Fnatic members. So Fnatic up against it, punish Vitality for taking a little too much time to get to the Baron. I thought it was a good decisive call at first, but for once the death timers weren't quite as long as Vitality had hoped, and Fnatic managed to fire back. There is still Baron buff on 2 people though for Vitality.
There's the saving grace for them, but as you mentioned, they lumbered slowly in the direction of that Baron, and you saw what happened. Let's see how the fight started off, though.
Well, this was Kasing, got hit by Jhin at that point, but Hjanen always had his ultimate to recall him back in. Pokemon Comp in action here, and he said, I choose Cly, and down goes the support to start this out. Fnatic now against the numbers. You can see they actually look to turn at one point. Spirit still trying to disengage, but there's always Jhin over the wall. Always looking to try and land any kind of damage he can, but it's just too little too late at that point. This is where it took Vitality a good 15-20 seconds to get up here. Braum's already respawned from this fight, and a teleport is available on Poppy with 7 seconds left. All this is Spirit soaking up time. Does get hit by the hook, which was not his intention there, but it draws Vitality out of the pit. They lose a lot of damage to Jhin here, and this is Fnatic coming back into this game. At this point, Vitality is so low with so little options. Good play from Forbidden to know as Nukeduck reveals himself out of the bush, flash onto him, take him down. Another member without that Baron buff.
When you wait that long, you hesitate. Bad things tend to happen. That Baron power play, we've seen negatives already today. There's another one for Vitality. With 2 members still rocking it, though. for another 40 seconds. See if they can get anything done as the package is spent by FNC on the last legs of it. Shook, Yarn, and Kasing trying to bait a trap. Fnatic are not falling for it, though.
No.
You can't Fnatic brush them.
Not many members of that Fnatic remain, but still, you can't do it.
Scattered about.
Yeah. It's a legacy play. People just don't lose to him anymore. It's like, well, we've got this thing called a blue trinket, and we put it on a bush, and then, oh, we see you. We completely see what's going on in that bush. So Fnatic not going to get upset by that at any time soon. And vision was a problem for Fnatic earlier. They don't have a whole lot of it up on the top side of the map right now. Most of the vision is for Vitality, and that's somewhat to be expected. Vitality are still in the lead, despite Fnatic having the last couple of fights go their way. But it is a negative Baron power play that just came out for Vitality, our second one of the day. I think we're a bad luck charm, Pyra, for Barons.
We might be.
Teams should just not do Baron while we're casting.
That's
I think that's
specific
conclusive.
correlation. I'm not sure if there's causality associated.
I don't know.
Vitality have made
Oh,
some questionable
teleport's
decisions.
coming in. See what the result is of this one.
See if this isn't one of those questionable ones. And he runs out of the Jin trap.
That's
Oh, no.
Oh, shed a tear.
That's when you type in all chat. Unlucky.
And the thing is, Reckless had pre-planned that. Like, that's like, well, this little area is so close. I wonder whether Daylor caught in that one. Seems like he's happy with it either way. But oh, flash from Spirit.
Oh, Shook is actually kicked back towards his team. And the cannon barrage deters any further aggression for now. A lot of damage coming out of that Gangplank, but Fnatic are unafraid. Still behind in the gold game, but not by that much. We're 6-6 in towers, remember. And with the death timer starting to creep up there, 30 minutes in, those skirmishes and fights are going to mean a lot more.
They are, but we haven't really seen a lot from Nukeduck in a while.
No? Wave clear, we've seen a lot of that.
We've seen a whole lot of wave clear from Nukeduck, but haven't seen a whole lot of damage come out from his barrels. He is now on 3 items, still hovering on them level 1 boots. Doesn't
really gets a speed boost too.
Yeah, he gets a speed boost. No problems with that. He's like, I'm just going full damage. Doesn't matter about crowd control. I got my vitamin C. Will keep myself healthy here, so it doesn't matter about my feet. But
speaking of damage too, I mean, it is a pretty heavy investment into the attack damage basket for Vitality. They've got the Nautilus, of course, and the Gragas, but
this time it probably does matter.
Yeah, might be.
Well, level 2 boots wouldn't have saved him there at all. That was as Nukeduck being caught out. Good collapse from Fnatic. But look at the vision Nukeduck did not have on the bottom side of the map. I mean, look at it. Nothing really through river past that dragon pit. Yeah, thank you, observers, for the vision toggle. So this is exactly what Nukeduck would have seen in his surroundings. And it just meant that Fnatic had the freedom to move down through this area and punish.
And so they did. So with that, too, you know, they take the threat off the board for another 30 seconds. We talked about death timers. Dragon will be up in a minute and a half. So will the Baron. Dragon is getting quite viable for Fnatic to try to get that number 5 because they're sitting on 3 still. Vitality haven't tried to force that buff, and the vision on the bottom side is all Fnatic at the moment. If they can maintain this, they put themselves in a very good position heading into this later game.
Good position, a commanding position, perhaps is there available.
It's difficult to do against Vitality. I mean, yesterday's game was very close, very back and forth, not a movement either way until the very end, really. And very few teams have been able to knock out Vitality. H2K have done it. Rocket did it on day 1. And then, you know, G2 and Unicorns. It's been very, very few and far between. This Vitality squad that many have said are possibly the strongest in Europe. We've had to ask that question over and over again. Fnatic are proving that they can tango with them.
Fnatic, after 13 extra games, are proving that. And I say that because Fnatic coming into this split pretty much made it clear. Our game plan is not to win Spring Split. Our game plan is based later on into this season. We want to basically power up through Spring and then look to win in summer. Look to win our way to Worlds. A win in Spring would be nice, but that's not the game plan right now. And you can see, after being given extra time, extra experience, they're starting to make waves along that road.
Well, you can see, you know, when you play that many games, maybe you start to think maybe it is summer already. The weather's not agreeing with that, but the teleport.
Oh, TV coming in.
Gamsu looking to start the fight, and he heroically charges right into Yarden, but no damage is there, who immediately hops back out. Jump back up, Cly and Gamsu knocked up big barrel, shook gets Cly. Yarden trying to hang on for his life here, but there is Curtain Call coming in, and they've all lined up for it. Febiven gets a rampage kill. Shut down though on the other side as Kabashard takes him out. So it's all a 2-for-2 with low health bars all across the board. But it's gonna be Vitality backing away, clearing the way for a Fnatic Dragon.
Reckless just puts so much damage out in that fight, then heals everything up. Reckless, again, having a good game on Jhin, a great game, 3-0 and 6. He weathered the storm through the mid game where he just wasn't very strong, and now he's in a great position. Dragon goes down, Hook lands on Spirit.
Yeah, they're gonna have to try and save him or sacrifice him here. Reckless has not had a bad game on Jhin, let's be serious.
No.
The reason most teams
Vitality
giving it to him.
Vitality knew that coming into this. You had to know. Gamsu did not connect with the wall there, but it didn't seem to matter. He disrupted Xian and stopped the damage for long enough. This point looked a little treacherous for Fnatic because the damage was being done by the ultimate.
Yeah. Cly did his job, he absorbed it now.
Yep.
Vitality, they pulled the trigger to start this Baron. They've got a lot of damage, they have a Kalista. Can it be interrupted? Spirit connects in, goes in, not able to get the steal off. It's taken out by Yarden, but the fight is on. Nukeduck slays Spirit in the back of the pit with Kasing looking for a hook around the side. Not gonna happen, double kill for the Kalista. Fnatic getting blown backwards into smithereens, but Reckless answers with a kill of his own. Kabashard's down, but Vitality secure the Baron for 4.
Very
Gotta be relieved with that.
Very worthwhile Baron for the 4 people that stay on Vitality. The first one was a little bit rough for them. Now they've managed to secure it for themselves. Man, Vitality, was that enough for them? Was that enough to hold this game? You have to feel like it is. A lot of the wave clear that's going to come from this Corki is going to be magic damage, so the ease of pushing now. Bottom lane is a big stack, and Nukeduck's going down there as well against that Corki. Still, death timers remain on the rest of Fnatic.
5 seconds for Gamsu and Spirit to come back up. Yarden and Kasing aren't going to try to force the issue down mid instead. They've got minion advantage on the bottom side. They'll look to secure some vision up through this jungle and hopefully bait Fnatic out of their own base. But at the moment, they are bunkering.
Oh, they're trying this play a couple of times. I don't know if I'm a fan of it.
Oh, there's one blue trinket up.
I mean, Spirit has to... He knows something's up. Look at him darting back and forward. Oh, Cly.
Oh, the hook's on him, and he's just blown up. Nukeduck. Harley's in town, and you gotta watch that.
I mean, Fnatic had the inkling that that was happening. The reason Spirit wasn't moving out of the base was because they had a feeling that was happening.
I mean, Cly had the same.
Was that Cly moving forward saying, okay, I'll just ward it, don't worry, guys. Oh, I've got to worry.
Yep, and that's going to be inhibitor turret. That'll easily be inhibitor as well. Fnatic, one key mistake is all it takes against Vitality to lose.
Gamsu's top with no teleport right now. Can recall, obviously. But that's the inhibitor now, looking for a second inhibitor turret being pushed in by Vitality.
Vitality's starting to back away, though. Gamsu, no, he's not going to force the issue here. He doesn't want to give up his life.
Whoa, okay.
But they did force Vitality to back.
That's a waste of the last 45 seconds of Baron. That's a significant amount of Baron that they're not going to have available after all of this trouble they went to. So good blast back on Spirit. Ooh, that was rough. That was 40 health remaining on the Baron. I wonder if that had been a split second difference, this game could have turned around. From here, just the damage came out onto Kabashard, but it was too little too late to stop the Baron. And there were big waves pushing top and bottom. 13 seconds remain.
Try to make the most of it. There's no minions.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that recall. I mean, Cly was coming back up. I guess Vitality wanted to reset and be out on the map now with the super minions, that they kind of trade the time on the Baron buff for time with super minions pushing, now that they've gone back and bought, got extra pink wards, got wards replaced back onto Shook, onto Kasing. There were a lot of variables in that situation that I think it's hard to summarize.
Well, you know, if anything, Vitality's going to be that cautious team that won't make the critical error most of the time. And they show their colors there again. Base cleared by Fnatic here.
I just don't think that they can push without having a significant amount of minions in the mid lane pushing in. Of course they'll have supers, but for Vitality, I honestly don't think they can push top or bot. Vitality, however, do have one glaring objective coming up in 1 minute 30. It would be Dragon number 5 for Fnatic. So Vitality know they're going to get dragged into a fight here. Fnatic are obviously going to want this Dragon. Shook is going to recall on a ward.
I think he realized something was after him as he body slams over the pit. Vitality are starting to back, but still 1 minute and 15 before this next Dragon. Nuke Duck now getting chased down, but this won't work twice. Or will it? He tries to cover his tracks. Spirit and Cly hot on his heels. Exhaust is down. Might have bought himself a little bit too much time there. Big barrel, but it knocks Spirit forward, and they pin Nuke Duck against the wall. Shook says, sorry, buddy, that's about all I can do.
Fool me once, fool me twice, and maybe that's the big foolish play that ends the game here for Vitality. That's got to be enough of a window. Nuke Duck is going to be still respawning as Dragon is being done by Fnatic here. 40 seconds Fnatic have to hold out. They have enough time to recall with the home guards. Nuke Duck tried to get that speed boost to run himself away, but exhaust used, flash used.
Dodges everything too.
Shook tried, but Spirit was ward jumping forward already, and that gave him the kick. Maybe if Spirit hadn't been able to, or hadn't been blasted into Nuke Duck, it would have been okay, but still tough. The Q was going to be there, the kick, the flash from Spirit was going to be there.
Fnatic aren't in position to start this Dragon off, though. It's 7 seconds away, and it's Vitality that have moved into position for it. Or not. Never mind. They're back up.
No, they can't with Nuke Duck still 10 seconds away. Nuke Duck has the teleport available. Somehow Vitality have to stall this out. They're going to try.
Oh, there is the Braum ulti. He hops back into the team. Poppy sends the Nautilus flying. Cannon Barrage coming down. Will this be Dragon 5? It is. Reckless makes sure of that. And now the fight is on. Gamsu pulled in, taken out. Yana with the dominating. And all of a sudden, Nuke Duck takes Febivin. And the remaining Fnatic members flash away.
TP going into the base to cut off Fnatic here. Reckless stop to curtain call. Cabo's going to just try and end this by blocking the retreat path. Fnatic are boxed in.
Boxed in between Nautilus and their own base. Can't do much, but they sidestep him. Nuke Duck and Shook have arrived, and here is the big minion wave. The tower's starting to fall. The Nexus turret's not going to remain for very long.
No, this is just going to be Vitality ending the game. Fnatic trade the game for 5th Dragon to try and win it. Cabo cut them off, didn't let them regen all of their health, and that's going to be it.
Seen that happen before. Get the 5th Dragon, but lose this game. Vitality hanging on by slivers of health, but they managed to take the rest, except for Reckless, but they will grab the Nexus 41 minutes into the game and take down Fnatic.
Well, they gave him the Jhin and said, we see your Jhin, we raise you Hyanan's Kalista. 11, 1, and 5 in this game. They didn't get punished in the early game with the matchup. And Hyanan went off throughout the entirety of this game. Picks and bans looked to be out of Vitality's control. The game wasn't always in their control, but a win is a win to keep them up that top end of the table.
Yeah. And Reckless's perfect Jhin record is shattered. With all of that, he only died once that game, but it didn't matter if you couldn't get the damage out in time while the rest of your team was going down. 5th Dragon, Fnatic, took a bit long about it and couldn't escape where it mattered. Vitality made fewer mistakes, and they showed why they are still a dominant force at the top of the table, or close enough to it.
Yeah, well, we saw a lot of improvement from Fnatic in their games this week, but at least we had the answer to the question of, is it just Jhin to win? No. For Fnatic, they need to bring more than just one pick, but they brought a very solid early game when it came to the lane swap. They brought, honestly, a lane swap and a strategy that would beat most teams here in Europe, looking at it kind of from a big picture standpoint. So I'm still impressed by Fnatic, regardless of the result. A misplay at the end to commit to the Dragon and lose so much health. Man, Vitality could get back in. There was such a small window, but it got slammed shut.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a slim difference when you get to the teams closer to the top of the standings. But for Fnatic, they can definitely feel good, even though they've lost this game, because they are showing growth. They are showing progression forward at a rate that we didn't think was going to happen this quickly for them. Maybe the IAM performance was just the boost they needed.
It definitely was. It was so much of a boost just in their experience together, the fact they got second place. I mean, the finals is a different story, but Fnatic and Fnatic fans certainly will look at the team having improved. But the real story is Vitality, once again, putting up another win. Yesterday, it wasn't such a good game for them. Today was still a bit shaky for Vitality. There were certainly
mistakes.
areas where mistakes crept in, but an important win nonetheless, because again, it's a team that is going to be around Vitality for the rest of the standings as we go towards the playoffs. And Vitality do prove they can still win these games. They're absolutely still worth that top of the table or around their kind of position.
But it's a good thing for them to play this Fnatic squad that's now surging in their ability to come together as a team, because it teaches the lesson. We can't make mistakes even against the teams that are a little bit lower. We need to tighten our play like they weren't able to do against G2. And it makes things so much more interesting come the playoffs. I'm really excited to see how they move through, because we had this static top level, but it's starting to clear up the fog and who really is the strongest team in Europe, who are in the orders. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But if this is anything like the playoffs are going to be, that's going to be something you can't miss.
We're going to have some fun games if this is how the playoffs are going to be, especially when we start mixing in the likes of H2K, G2 as well. Teams we're expecting maybe to make it to the semifinals.
Well, even Origin had a pretty solid performance yesterday.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Vitality, you would kind of be putting in that bracket of the teams expecting to make semis and that bye. This win gives them another step closer to that.
Yes, it does indeed. Now, to talk